Hey model kit builders, well we got another Meng tank here, this time the good old Sherman, probably the most popular allied tank ever, right? This is their second casting. I think the Tiger 1 is their first casting, eventually I'll get around to that. So here we go, yeah, it's very tuned. Alright, yeah, they also make planes and boats, but I'm not going there right now at least. These things are kind of big, you know? And then this is based off a video game. Tempted to even start playing this. Here's some specs we can read off. I did pull up Wikipedia though. Let's see, 30 tons, at least this version. Wikipedia says it could get up to 40 tons because this thing's been around for like 50 years of service. First entered service in 1940. Let's see. Main gun 75 millimeters, 48 kilometers per hour, 200 range. So go to Wikipedia here. There's some other stuff I think I want to know. Yeah, it came out in 1940, around $65,000 to make one. The armor was like 12 to 180 millimeters thick, depending on where. What kind of engine does this thing have? Oh, there's so many kinds of engines. Forget it. I don't even bother. Okay, and then how many were produced? Maybe 50,000 if I had to guess, but I don't know. I'm just guessing all the time. Yeah, 49,000 of them were made. So, pretty popular. Not as popular as the T-34, though. That was the most popular, more mass-produced tank, I guess. Alright, let's get back to this. Olga approved. I guess that's a popular character in the video game. Oh, what's the date on this thing? That's weird. Copyright, but no date of copyright. Oh wow, this says 2023. So that doesn't make sense. I mean, if this is their first casting, maybe this is just a new box or something. Okay, well, anyways. Yeah, there's always this piece of paper in there, some Chinese stuff, I don't know what. Oh, that's a really dark green. So it's got rubber tracks, the paint's gonna have a hard time sticking to it. The molds are generally really nice, the way they're designed and the way they go together. You don't need glue or anything like that. And I like how they have like the cast finish. It's got like a sand blasted kind of finish as if it was sand casted. Alright, so that's nice. Same here. The turret should be casted as well. So yeah, there's like a sandy finish to it. Okay, very cool. And then the decals are generally nice. I kind of wish they gave you an alternative though, an alternate set of decals, or just one extra one in case you mess one up, you know. And also the numbers are extremely close. It's a real pain to cut these out because everything's jammed together so tightly on that piece of paper. Okay, well, the directions, by the way, they're really straightforward. You don't even need to really read English. Just gotta look at shapes and arrows. Yeah, so that's it. 4 pages and then some color recommendations if you're gonna paint it, which I might. Yeah, I probably will. For me, I don't envision this as the color of a Sherman. I envision it either being lighter green or darker olive drab. Yeah, so. Alright, so this one actually has a lot of parts. Many. I'm trying to see what the total count is. There's around 20 parts here. There's around 12 parts here. Or 15. Yeah, this could be like 50 parts in total. So as usual, I will fast forward, put to some music, and then come back to the end and for the review. So here we are, and definitely have a lot of stuff to talk about on this one, because this was the most difficult model kit to put together of these tanks that I built so far. Granted, it's only my fourth one, but it was the fastest to weather because I just didn't care at some point in time. Okay, so let's talk about the way the hull is constructed. It's these two halves, and then the front and back cap the halves. But it's not designed in a way where they trap each other, really. I mean, I guess these two halves trap the front and the rear, but... So I had a hard time kind of squeezing it into the recess of the top. Eventually I did get it, you know, it's in there, but yeah, that's a minor issue. The big issue is the pins. The pinholes for these two accessories were too small, so I ended up having to drill them out with like a 0.8 millimeter drill bit. I tried 0.6, nothing. 0.7, nothing. You have to go to 0.8 in order to get those to go in easily. I feel like the pins are so small that if you try to force them in, they're just gonna break, and then, you know, that's a different pain to deal with, you know, as far as aligning them if you don't have the pins. So you're gonna have to, I suggest you get a 0.8 millimeter drill bit if you're gonna build this Sherman tank. Or I guess maybe you could just use a pin, one of these needle files, you know, from like a jewelry needle kit. Although it's, I'm not sure if you're gonna get it in there. The tip of this looks wider than 0.8. Then on the flip side, I think one of maybe these, boy, maybe they're too loose, or maybe I drilled them out too big. I forget. The biggest issue I found were these things, these little light protector things. The way is designed, let me show you the inside actually, if I can get it apart. Oh, maybe the paint stuck. Well, anyways, I was trying to force these four things in all the way, like flush with this ledge here, but apparently they're not supposed to go in that far. It's just that this one I think can go all the way in, so that's what made me think I have to push them all the way in. But there's actually physical stops behind on this piece of plastic, and so you're actually supposed to see these little breaks in the plastic, and I didn't realize that for a while. And you can see that well, maybe the paint covered it up, but there was a stress mark because I was trying to push it in so far. And then I also took a hobby knife and bored out the hole because I thought it was being stuck in the hole itself, but it probably wasn't. It's just that I didn't know that. So keep that in mind. You're actually supposed to see a little bit of this ledge on all four of them. And I assume these are supposed to be straight, but you see this one, I think I bent it all out of place now. So, because I didn't know that. So that's a pain. Oh well. It's a tank. I could just pretend it ran into a tree branch and bent it. Anything else? I think maybe I didn't clip off that plastic the way it should have been done. Maybe I should have clipped off a little bit more, but I was too lazy to force it out and put it back in. As usual, the rubber tracks, it's very easy to scratch off the paint, so I did layer it on, but you don't want to move any of these tracks because the paint will just wear off. It also took some paint off the wheel when I did move it around before weathering it. So it's just a bunch of acrylic paint washes. This is a paint marker, these little red slots here. I guess I could go back and clean it up a little bit, but the slot is so small, I found that I couldn't see much red. So, alright. And then you'll see this one's properly spaced. This one, when I put it in, it was literally touching this thing, so I sanded it down, but now it's not aligned properly, so oh well. That's probably my fault. I wasn't too careful putting it together. This little machine gun does go up and down, which is nice. That's kind of neat. You might want to paint the machine gun before you put this round dome on, but I didn't even bother doing that. So you can see there's the raw plastic under the turret because I weathered it with the turret on. And I just put a bunch of washes over it. So this turret here, the main gun, will go up and down. And yeah, maybe I need to weather that again because it didn't stick. And then the hatches, this is the best designed hatch so far of the ones I have. Oh, but I almost ruined it. I put in the first one by putting this into the hinge and then pushing the hinge into the body. But then the second one just put the hinge right into the body without the actual hatch. And I actually bent this piece of plastic doing so. There's a little stress mark right here. So if you want to avoid breaking the hinge, you have to put the hatch into the hinge first, so it doesn't squish that air. You want the plastic to be there, then push it into the thing. So be mindful of that, because if you break that hinge, I don't know, you're going to have to just glue it together forever. But the way it is, yeah. Oh, you can see there's crazy glue in here holding a lot of these bits on. Some of the bits I felt were a little bit loose, so I crazy glued them from the inside, and then you can see the vapor that left that mark. In fact, it's kind of cool, so I'm going to leave that vapor there. Alright, so that's neat that you can actually get, maybe some sort of cartoon character, but I'm not sure which one would fit. I'm going to experiment with some characters and try to find some, but that'll probably be a different video because all these hatches are quite different in their sizing, it seems. Alright, anything else here? Obviously this is plastic, so it could break quite easily, but that'll be a hard thing to fix as well because it literally follows the contour of the body, so I pray that that never snaps off. If it does, I'll probably have to just clip it off and have an antenna right from this location, but luckily it's not broken yet. This one has a good amount of decals. So you got this classy peg here, you got some a kill streak marker, the stars, and this one says Geets, very cool. And then I guess that's probably the registration number or serial number. So it's got a 45 degree-ish offset. I don't know why they're not just all 90 degrees, but because I feel like that would be a really common pose to have a tank in, right? So like that just wants to fall out. But if it was a 90 degree, it'd be locked in place. So that's kind of weird. Alright. Okay, well, yeah, I guess maybe I have to do a little bit more weathering. The weathering, I never even clear coated it because, again, I'm just trying to deal with time, but maybe I do have to clear coat it. Let's see if yeah, because I can scrape that wet wash off. Alright, well, it's just that I don't really like the way clear coat works, and I'll show you why. It's because this is clear coated with matte rattle can. Maybe I should just buy hobby. I do actually have hobby grade clear coat. I just never thought to put into the airbrush gun. But anyways, there's a certain sheen to this rattle can. It doesn't look matte to me. Yeah, boy, maybe I'll have to go back and rattle can all these. Yeah, they have a certain brightness to them that I don't like. Except for on this one. This is the same like rattle can stuff, and for some reason on gray, it doesn't look as bright and shiny, right? So that's why I tried to just leave the weathering alone, but now I'm noticing as I fondle it, I think it's wiping off. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to wash this again and maybe put some Vallejo matte finish on it, matte varnish. Now, size comparison wise, this is a heavy tank, right? The Porsche Tiger. An M5 Stuart is considered a light tank, and the Sherman, I saw a photo of these two next to each other. The Sherman should be bigger, but obviously smaller than this. So I'm not sure why they chose to make the Sherman as small, actually smaller than the Stuart, right? It's narrower than the Stuart. So that's too bad. You know, it's a little bit taller and all, but it actually looks like a smaller tank. But this is a medium-sized tank in the realm of real tanks, whereas the Stuart's a light tank. So why? You know, that's too bad. I really wish that this was a little bit bigger, at least bigger than that, and smaller than the two heavy tanks. So that is another unfortunate thing. Granted, these are cartoons, so, but it would have been nice to have a little more consistency when they're planning this out. Maybe what they did is just designed like this in the Tiger 1, not this Tiger 1, the regular Tiger 1. And then they realized they had to fit in other ones, and then they just made changes later on. This is only casting number 2, so... Okay, well, let's get these guys out of here. Hold on. Get this thing spinning. It is really funny, though. The proportions are fantastic, because it is definitely a nicely tuned. Maybe it's the best one as far as the tuning goes. It's the most drastic tuning. Unfortunately, my solar spinner cannot handle this weight. Unless I put a flashlight on it. Let's see. Alright, if you put a flashlight on a solar spinner, it can deal. Wow, alright. Alright, so nicely tuned, a little bit small, and quite difficult to put together. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is the way the top and bottom half of the turrets met, there was a bit of an overlap, so I ended up sanding it as much as I could, but you can still see a lot of the mold lines. I didn't bother dealing with putty because that would mean I'd have to repaint the whole thing. And I kind of wanted to keep this green color. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next World War Toons video. Bye.